What is the real cost of employee overload and how do you measure it? You track performance, you track retention, you track absenteeism, burnout, and engagement. But there's one major driver behind all of those metrics that often hides in plain sight: the personal pressures your people are carrying. And this cost isn't just emotional, it's operational, it's structural, it's financial. And if you're not tracking it, you're underestimating the real impact on your business. So today, we're going to talk about what life load, stress, caregiving, well-being challenges really cost organizations, and why traditional HR metrics often miss them, and how to measure what really matters so you can make a strategic case for investing in human sustainability. If we haven't met, I'm Dr. Anna Thomas. I'm a physician, leadership speaker, caregiver advocate, and corporate wellness specialist. I help organizations strengthen their workforce and create workplaces where people and performance can thrive together. Even as we enter an era of AI, automation, and agentic teams, the future of work is still human, and that work is changing dramatically. But at the same time, employees are navigating complex personal and professional pressures that are only going to escalate in the coming years. For example, in the next 5, 10, 15 years, we will see an exponential increase in the number of older adults who will need caregiving support. Who will be providing that care? Working adults. Right now, 63 million Americans are caregivers. That's 1 in 4 adults, with more than half of them currently working full-time. Those numbers are expected to increase and will have a tremendous impact on our communities and, yes, even our workplaces. And caregiving is just one example of a personal stressor that will impact the workplace. Mental health, chronic illness, stress, and burnout are all on the rise, and the organizations that will thrive are those that lead with care, culture, awareness, resources, and empowerment. Care. Through this series, I share practical strategies, leadership tools, and insights to help you create cultures that support well-being, strengthen engagement, and retain top talent. If you'd like a clear starting point, then check out my free training, The Future of Work is Care. The link is below. And while you're there, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this with another leader who is ready to build a workplace that cares. Let's get into today's topic. Companies leak performance and talent not because they don't care, but because they don't measure personal pressures, whether it's caregiving, health challenges, mental health, financial stress, or burnout. They can show up as absenteeism labeled lack of commitment, burnout blamed on poor resilience, turnover dismissed as life challenges. But when you connect those dots, a pattern emerges. These employees aren't the exception. They're the backbone of your workforce. And if you ignore that, you lose money, you lose loyalty, you lose trust. So let's talk about how to start tracking what's been invisible. These are the 5 areas where these costs hide. First is turnover and replacement. When employees feel unsupported in managing their life demands, along with all their work responsibilities, they leave. Sometimes they leave quietly, sometimes they leave abruptly, always at a cost. Turnover costs range from 50 to 200% of that person's salary, depending on their seniority. What to look for: mid-career exits without clear advancement issues, high turnover amongst employees in their 40s to 60s, personal reasons in exit interviews that go unexamined. Second is absenteeism and presenteeism. People who are overwhelmed often miss work due to family or health needs. Others show up but are mentally and emotionally drained. This rarely shows up in your data unless you look beyond hours. What you want to look for are things like frequent unplanned absences, missed meetings or reduced participation, quiet disengagement over time. The third area to look for is performance degradation. Most employees want to perform well, but without flexibility, support, acknowledgement, performance can suffer. Signs might be missed deadlines, incomplete follow-through, withdrawal from stretch projects. What's labeled as underperformance can be unsupported performance. The fourth area is lost innovation and engagement. Employees under strain are problem solvers waiting for capacity. When you support them, they can bring back that creativity, that resilience, and the insight. When you don't, they disengage. Support keeps those ideas flowing and neglect shuts them down. 5. Reputation and recruitment. Your internal culture always leaks. When people feel penalized for life circumstances, that story, it spreads through Glassdoor, through referrals, and competitors recruiting. Culture can either become a talent magnet or a talent repellent. Here's the challenge. Most of this data is self-reported, and most employees do not feel safe disclosing. So HR leaders may say, we don't really have that issue here. No one's raised it. We offer support. No one's using it. That is not proof. Absence is not proof. It is just proof of silence. And silence can cost more than you think. So how do we surface these hidden costs? Overlay these known metrics with things like age and tenure. Track exit rates, leave requests, absenteeism, and engagement by age band and tenure. So employees in their 40s, 50s, 60s, they're the most likely to be balancing care, health, or family needs. Patterns might emerge. Add life balance questions to your surveys. Instead of asking, are you a caregiver? Because most caregivers don't even identify with that word. You might ask, do you have personal or family responsibilities that affect your work availability? Maybe ask, how supported do you feel in balancing work and life demands? These questions, when asked in a good, anonymous way, are not invasive. They're invitational. It can give you data. Third is to update your exit interviews. Maybe ask, did personal or family responsibilities influence your decision to leave? Were there supports that you felt were missing or underused? Those answers could reveal what a spreadsheet can never do. 4, track utilization of support benefits. What is being used? What is being ignored? What is misunderstood? For example, a backup care program that only covers children under the age of 12 excludes employees who are supporting elders or other dependents who have disabilities who are older than that. But that gap will never show because no one is using the benefit. That's not disinterest in that resource, it's just a design failure. You want to connect data to strategy, not guilt. The goal here isn't to guilt leaders into being nicer, it's to build strategy based on truth. When you connect human pressures to productivity, retention, culture, goals, recruitment costs, you gain leverage. You can say, we're not guessing. We know how this is costing us and how we can fix it, how we can support our team in the way that they need it. When you start measuring what matters, employee well-being stops being their personal private business. It becomes intelligence. And you can start responding instead of reacting. And your people will stay, not from obligation, but from loyalty. And you don't need perfect data, but you do need some honest questions and the will to act on what you will learn. And if you're looking for a data-backed way to build that case for human-centered leadership, then watch my free training, The Future of Work is Care. It's going to walk you through how to connect culture and well-being and ROI using the CARE framework. Tap the link below to access it. And if you haven't already, check out my book, Workplaces That Care. It's available now on Amazon. It is your playbook for building a resilient workplace that retains talent and sustains performance. Now here's what I want you to remember. You don't have to guess what well-being and life pressures are costing your organization. You just have to be willing to ask and to listen and to measure what matters, even when it's uncomfortable. That is not a soft skill. That is strategic leadership. And the leaders who learn to track this will be the ones who keep their talent and win their loyalty. Next, we're going to talk about what happens when leadership avoids talking about caregiving. Because silence doesn't keep things neutral, it creates fear. We'll explore what happens when leaders stay quiet and how to start leading visibly and compassionately without overstepping. And while you're waiting, you can watch, are our employee support benefits actually useful, or are they just collecting dust? Because empowerment only works when your tools actually meet people's needs. Remember, in this age of AI, the future of work is still human. So let's create workplaces that care.